Hello, welcome to Popalong RC, the RC car channel dedicated to RC car racing, and today is the maiden voyage for the brand new Team Corally pan car, the SSX125. Here it is with its bitty Aries 1 shell, and if we look inside, we are running this car as an LMGT3, which is a 25.5 turn just stock motor, 2S battery, hobby wing just stock ESC, and control purple line tyres. I took it to my local club Bedford, and it's fair to say some of the regulars were very interested in looking at this new chassis. This is literally the first time out of the box, so I have no idea how it's going to perform. In the first round of sort of practice and the first round of qualifying, the car wasn't set up, therefore I was having a few issues, but I had people at hand to help out. Okie doke, so I've just been out for the first round, and as predicted, the car is not perfect. The thing is, when you get a new car, you're going to have a few little teething issues, and what have I changed since the first round? Well, I've got these the side dampers, which I've built as it says in the manual, and inside these you have a very small spring, but what I didn't do is apply any oil in these. So because in my other cars I run about a 12,000 CST, I've put a little bit of oil in the side damping, which hopefully is going to help the car be a little bit more stable when it changes direction. So I was finding when I was coming from a hard left to a hard right, the car was sort of snatching. So therefore, hopefully having this running a little bit thicker should help with settling down the car. Another thing I've changed is at the back here, I've just screwed this in ever so slightly, droop, and I am going to now apply some additive to the rear tyres and head back out. I'm not actually going to apply any additive to the fronts. I did initially for the practice before I put the camera on, and it was way too bitey at the front. So there's grips coming up here already because we've got a few GT12s going around laying additive down. So for the next round, additive on the rear, nothing at the front, and I'm going to see if I can get this car sort of dialed in a little bit more. So next round, what I've done is I've actually added some oil in the front dampers just to firm up the front. The car was handling a little bit better in that round, but unfortunately I managed to chew up my spur gear. So that run I only got a few laps in, but the car was going really nice. I'm really happy with the progress I've made for day number 1. Just the final left to go, so hopefully I've actually changed the gearing on this now, so I've gone back to the stock out the box gearing, and I'm hoping that I have a fun final. So here we are, the A final of the GT12. So out in front of me, I have 3 GT12s. I know at least 2 of them are regulars at the GT12 Nationals. So they are seasoned drivers, and they're kind of dedicated to the GT12 class. I am running the LMGT3, and I am just slightly off the pace, but even if I was running my GT12, I would be off the pace because normally I get lapped several times by the guys in front of me. In terms of the car's performance, really liking it coming down the straight and round the sweeper. This section here though, the turn onto the straight is where I was struggling the most. So because these are quite wide turns, I was able to carry speed, but these 2 hairpins here is where the car was really shifting weight when you're going from a hard left to a hard right. And actually the right onto the straight, when I was getting onto the throttle, I found it was a little bit twitchy, but overall the car is performing extremely well. For a first outing, I couldn't be happier. I say I'm trying to stay out of trouble, keep away from these guys. I'm kind of getting off the line there to let them through. The problem when you get off the line, you do get a little bit of dirt and fluff on your tyres, so it can take you a little time to sort of warm up again. But now I've let them through, it's about trying to keep with them and see what I'm capable of. As I started to push towards the later stages of the race, I was finding that the car was able to carry a lot of speed through the turns, but I am just not very experienced running this class of racing, so therefore it was more sort of driver ability holding me back than anything else. Obviously, the harder you push, the more likely you are to make mistakes. So the guys aren't getting away from me quite as quickly now, so I'm starting to push a little bit more. And as soon as I did, you can see there, the car just spun out, turned on a sixpence. So that's something that I'm going to need to iron out on this car with setup. Again, trying to push, and it's just snapping round on me there. Lucky not to take out the other drivers. Now I find myself in the middle of the pack. I'm just trying to stay out of trouble. Again, I find my experience doing the GT12 really helpful, because I do know sort of the basics of setting up these cars and how to manage grip with tyre additive. So therefore, it has been a lot easier and a lot quicker to get this car into a working window. And now I believe it just needs sort of fine tuning. In terms of what I've done to the car then today, so I'm running between 5,000 and 7,000 oil on the rear spring, so that's the rear damper. I've got 1,200 weight oil in the side dampers, and I've got, I think it was some 50,000 weight oil on the front springs. And what that done is that's just settled the car down. Again, you can see me just pulling out the way there. I'm not on a race with these top guys. I'm just, say, trying to get the car around. I don't want to impact on their racing, although they are doing that all by themselves. On the day, Ian was absolutely flying. So he's the car coming up behind me now. And I need to say a massive thank you to Ian for helping me with sort of setting up this car. He is a very experienced racer driving Zen pan cars, and there are lots of similarities in the Corally to some of the Zen formats and layouts that have been used in the past. So he was guiding me with what oils to run and just basic setup stuff really, so kind of getting the droop set correctly and making sure the rear pod was running parallel to the chassis. So yeah, massive thanks Ian. Ian is one of the local legends of RC, runs the Milton Keynes Club as well, and he's very seasoned in the world of GT12s. Anyway, back to the car, back to the racing. Again, I'm pushing. The only turn that I can't push on is this one here coming onto the straight, so I'm just taking it a little bit slower. I'm a little bit later onto the throttle, so I'm letting the car do its turn and then get on the throttle on the straight. Because in this car, again, we're running a spool, and I did find actually when the grip was a little bit lower, when I really squeezed the trigger going down the straight, I was getting a little bit of torque steer where the car was pulling off to the left. That's quite normal for pan cars and GT12 cars, so it's just something that you need to learn to drive with. But there you go, the end of the race is just coming up, and really happy with how the car went for its first outing. So I am going to feed back to Mark, let him know what I've done to set my car up for the track, so he gets a little bit of a head start. It's a shame he wasn't finished building his car so he could join me this evening, but you know, Mark can't rush perfection. Anyway, see you soon.